Spoilers ahead. A Third World War broke out in the early years of the 21st century, having the effect of bringing civilizations all across the world to their knees. After the war, world leaders started working to create a new peaceful civilization, out of concern that the human species cannot possibly survive a fourth. They established the dystopian futuristic city-state of Libria. The year is 2072 and we meet the film's protagonist, cleric First Class John Preston, who is Libria's highest-ranking cleric. Clerics are skilled in the lethal martial art of gun kata, which teaches practitioners to anticipate the moves of opponents during firearm combat, and are at the top of Librian law enforcement. Preston is a widower with 2 kids, Robbie and Lisa, whose wife was executed after it was discovered that she was a sex offender.
Remember me.
The New World's Council forbid all things thought likely to arouse strong emotions, including art, music and literature, believing that human passion is to blame for man's inhumanity to man. The council imposes uniformity and conformity, and aims to provide every Librian a similar life. Contraband has a EC-10 grade for emotional content, and are often destroyed by quick incineration. The clerics exist to track down and eliminate EC-10 materials, as well as to hunt down, capture and if necessary, kill those who are guilty of experiencing emotions. Preston discovers that his colleague, cleric First Class Errol Partridge, took a copy of Yeats' poems under false pretenses following a raid on a group of resistance fighters.
They miss things sometimes. I thought I'd take it down myself.
Preston follows Partridge to a collapsed cathedral in the Nethers after learning that he has not turned the book over for destruction. There is an underground resistance movement in Libria, which exists in defiance of the efforts of the police and clerics. The underground has contacts with resistance groups residing in the Nethers, the remains of cities decimated by World War III. They collect artwork, artifacts and books from the pre-World War III era, and are the targets of Librian death squads. Partridge expresses emotion, and coerces Preston into shooting him. After inadvertently breaking the vial containing his morning dose of prosium, a drug used to keep people emotionless, Preston starts to feel emotions. The career-focused Brant is Preston's new partner. Following a standard police raid on a Librian woman, Mary O'Brien, who has stopped taking prosium, Preston's emotional confusion is exacerbated during her interrogation. The first time he exhibits emotional behavior is in the Nethers, when he justifies not killing a dog.
There's an epidemic in the Nethers.
Preston maintains his emotionless and robotic demeanor in front of his son and the increasingly wary Brant. Preston's behavior increasingly mirrors that of Partridge in the beginning, even to the point of repeated dialogue.
They miss things sometimes. I'm gonna take it in myself.
Soon Preston is involved in illegal activities. During a visit to the Nethers, he is forced to kill several Librian policemen who find the rescued puppy in his car. Having seen Preston rearranging his desk, and refusing to personally execute resistance members during a raid in the Nethers, Brant becomes more suspicious.
I can smell you.
Preston is summoned before Vice Consul DuPont, and explains that he is attempting to infiltrate the resistance in order to destroy it. DuPont tells him that he has heard rumors of a cleric attempting to join the resistance, and Preston promises to find this traitor. Preston soon makes contact with the resistance. The prosium factories are the target of their attacks, carried out by members of this movement against Libria. The underground's top brass is convinced that if they can stop the manufacture and distribution of prosium for one day, the Librians will revolt and topple the council. Preston agrees to assassinate Father, an act which will create enough confusion for the underground to detonate bombs in Libria's prosium factories, and hopefully bring down the council. Although Father never communicates with anyone outside of the ruling council, there is a powerful cult of personality surrounding him. However, watching Mary O'Brien's execution in Libria's furnace causes Preston to weep uncontrollably, and Brant arrests him. Brant brings Preston before DuPont. However, Preston tricks DuPont into believing Brant was the criminal.
I'm not feeling.
And Preston is released. When Preston goes back to his house to burn his prosium before the cops locate it, his son confronts him and confesses that he and his sister haven't used prosium in a while, and that they've hid his cache of the drug. The leaders of the resistance surrender to Preston as part of a complex plan hatched with the underground, and Preston successfully convinces DuPont to give him access to Father. When Preston shows up for his meeting with Father, he is abruptly confronted by him. Speaking to Preston, Father reveals that he was aware of Preston's sense offense, and that Brant's arrest was staged in order to give Preston a false sense of security and give him the impression that his assassination plan can proceed. Vice Consul DuPont reveals that the true father passed away many years prior, and that DuPont was chosen by the council to serve as the new head of state. To confront Brandt and DuPont, Preston goes on a rampage with his concealed weapons. Preston and Brandt face each other using paired short swords, but Preston easily dispatches Brandt. In a pistol duel between gun kata masters, Preston and DuPont engage in combat. Preston eventually prevails and kills DuPont. Preston follows up by destroying the hologram projector of Father, as well as the propaganda machines that broadcast over Libya. When the underground sets off their bombs and the council realizes they are in trouble, the prisoners are freed. A riot that heralds the fall of the Libyan administration occurs. And the movie ends. Equilibrium is a 2002 science fiction action film written and directed by Kurt Wimmer. John Preston kills 118 people in this movie, which makes him responsible for exactly half of the total 236 deaths shown. 200 people were interviewed for the role of Partridge. Filming had already started when Sean Bean was brought in, having been convinced to take the role. The inspiration for the design of Libya come mainly from the works of Hugh Ferris, an early 20th century artist. While Kurt Wimmer invented the martial arts style gun kata for this movie in his backyard. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.
King Kong ain't got